Hello everyone, today we're going to be learning about the participial phrase. Before I talk about the participial phrase, you're actually going to have to learn what a participle is. So a participle is a word that's derived from a verb, and it looks like a verb and functions as an adjective. Because the participle is derived from a verb, it actually seems sometimes as if it is the verb in the sentence, which isn't true because even when there is a participle present in the sentence, there's also a verb present. Luckily, the participle can be easy to identify in a sentence because it usually ends in ing, ed, end, t, or n. So now that you know a little bit about the participle itself, the participle phrase is actually a phrase that's inserted into an already complete sentence. So even if the participle phrase is removed from the sentence can still be considered complete and grammatically correct without that participial phrase. The participial phrase contains the participle, which we just learned about, its modifiers, and then the other words that are needed to make the sentence complete. So you probably find yourself asking, what does this participial phrase do? The participial phrase actually describes the nouns and pronouns of the sentence, so it gives us a little bit more information on what is going on with these nouns and pronouns. What are they doing? Where are they at? Where are they going? And other things like that. Another common question is, when is the participial phrase actually used? So obviously it's used when it's further describing nouns and pronouns, like I said in my previous slide. And you usually want to insert it immediately before or after the noun in your already complete sentence, just so it's grammatically correct and it makes sense to your reader. So here I have an example of a sentence that makes use of a participial phrase. I have some important elements underlined. We is the noun of the sentence, and then I'm going to jump over to saw, which I have in italics, is the verb of the sentence, and then in bold I have the participial phrase, sitting together under the moon. And then the sentence reads all together, we, sitting together under the moon, saw a shooting star. And then here on my next slide I have the breakdown of the participial phrase, sitting under the moon. Sitting is the participle itself, and then sitting under the moon is the entire participial phrase. And then here I have the breakdown of the entire sentence with the use of a participial phrase, just to understand the presence of the verb and the presence of a participle in the sentence. We can see that the word saw, which is the verb of the sentence, renames the noun we in the sentence. So we saw a shooting star. And then sitting, which is the participle, also renames the noun we in the sentence, just to make it clear that both of them describe the noun in the sentence, and the participle just is there to give more information. So how can we be sure if a phrase that's inserted in a sentence is for sure a participial phrase? We know for sure that a participial phrase is inserted before or after the noun in the sentence. We know that it can be removed from a sentence and excuse me, and the sentence is still complete even when the participial phrase is removed. So here I'm just taking my sentence from a couple of slides ago and just showing you what it looks like when we remove the participial phrase. So here's we, sitting under the moon, saw a shooting star. So I'm just going to cross that participial phrase out, and then it becomes we saw a shooting star. So we can see we still have that original noun and verb, we being the noun, saw being the verb. We saw a shooting star. So that's still clearly a complete sentence. We just don't know what the people, we, were doing when they were seeing the shooting star. We don't know where they were. So as you can see, that participial phrase tells us they were sitting under the moon when they saw the shooting star. So here I have two sentences, and I'm just going to ask Jamie if they have a participial phrase in them or not. So the first sentence is, we watched the baseball game. So do you think that contains a participial phrase in it?
No.
And that is correct. So, and the second one, the girls searching for the Searching for the items on the list, we're getting frustrated. Do you think, with your knowledge of the participle phrase, does that have one in it?
Yes.
That is right. Okay, here I have another question, which has a sentence that contains a participial phrase. Running as fast as he could, Molly knew she was in first place. So the answer is either A, Molly knew, B, she was in first place, or C, running as fast as she could. So Jamie, do you think it's A, B, or C?
C.
And that is correct. Running as fast as she could is the answer. So same kind of an example as the last slide, and the sentence is, each member of the volleyball team, screaming with excitement and joy, ran to their fans to celebrate their win. And the choices are either A, screaming with excitement and joy, B, ran to their fans, or C, each member of the volleyball team. And what do you think that answer is?
A.
That is correct. So now we're going to have Jamie create his own sentence using a participial phrase. And I gave him 4 choices. What he has to do is just unscramble them and then identify the participial phrase. So just give me your letter choices in order, and then I'll read the sentence, and then you can identify what the phrase is in the end. And so what is your letter order?
A. C. D. B.
So the sentence that Jamie has created is, remembering that class was canceled, Skylar went back home and took a nap. And that is the correct sentence order. So what do you think that the participial phrase is?
A.
And that is also correct. So he chose the participial phrase as remembering that class was canceled. All right, thank you, class. And remember, the participial phrase is always a great option when you're looking to make your sentences more in depth and more interesting.